Gaza and Hamas. And Hamas is, continuing to hold on to hostages and bodies. Donald Trump delivered a stunning ultimatum on Truth Social, demanding remaining hostages to be handed over, said hand over the bodies or there will be hell to pay. He called Hamas sick and twisted, which I think there were no truer words ever spoken by the man. I think it's great to have a president who's now on the front foot about this sort of thing. But again, did the American people, how much are the American people signed up also for, continued involvement with Gaza and Hamas if it involves America moving into the area as well?
So the American people are not going to be on board with sending troops on the ground anywhere. Luckily, Israel has never once allowed an American troop to step foot on Israel, on Israeli territory and fight. Israel fights its own wars. In fact, Israel does not only fight its enemies, Israel fights the enemies of the United States, and it is in a very different situation than Ukraine. Israel is sovereign. If we stop funding Israel tomorrow, they will find another way to defend their people from these depraved, despicable, disgusting, mass murdering, mass rapists, baby stranglers. They're not going to sit around and wait for the United States, And in fact, there's even a movement within Israel right now called From Aid to Trade. Israel's a wealthy country, and you know what? Maybe they need sovereignty a little more than they need U.S. aid dollars, and I think that that's a really good move on that front. Now, you contrast that with Ukraine, which literally cannot fight without the help of the United States. It is not sovereign in this war. We are fighting a proxy war with Russia on Ukraine's behalf that we don't want to be fighting, because Russia, of course, was never perceived to be a foe of the United States since the fall of the Soviet Union. Certainly, Barack Obama didn't think so when he laughed Mitt Romney off the stage when Mitt Romney suggested that Russia was an adversary of the United States. So I think that's the real difference there. And I think the American people, they're very, very, very pro-Israel. I mean, there's the democracy, there's the feeling of shared values. America is a Christian country in many ways. There are a lot of Christians here who feel very, very close to Israel and to the Jewish people. And also, Israel brings a lot to the table as an ally. It brings a lot of intelligence sharing to the table. Israelis, when they use our fighter jets, they return them in better condition than they got them. They are able to give our military industrial complex, the equivalent of billions of dollars of improvements and testing of our weapons. And so we get a lot strategically out of
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, it's always good manners to return your F-35 and you borrow it with a full tank of gas. That's what I was always told. But look, we always talk, Batya, about political leaders selling out the American people and, the people that they're supposed to be looking after. I was stunned by this week. The mayors of Boston, Chicago, Denver, and New York appearing at hearings defending sanctuary cities, which are basically really hideouts for illegal immigrants from deportation or prosecution. Have a look here. Boston Mayor Michelle Wu and her message to illegal aliens in her city.
You belong here. This is your home. Boston es tu hogar. Boston, 这里卡有，这是你的家. This is our city. We are the safest major city in the nation because we are safe for everyone.
Batya, all the time we are told that Donald Trump is flouting the law, flouting constitutional norms, flouting this, flouting that, and yet you have these mayors who say, hey, federal immigration law, it doesn't apply to us. And in Massachusetts, where Boston is, we've seen some of the worst crimes committed by illegal aliens who are then not given over to the feds.
When I was at CPAC about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, Tom Homan, who's our new czar of the border, who's been doing an incredible job rounding up violent criminals and shipping them back where they came from, he actually said, Boston, I'm coming for you, and I'm bringing my scariest guys with me, or something along those lines. I encourage everybody to go and watch his whole speech. It was absolutely incredible. He makes me feel safe as an American. That is a person who has waited his whole life for this job, and he shows up every day with a massive smile on his face and a heart to protect the American people.
Batya Ungar-Sargon, thank you so much for joining me on the U.S. Report.